Hi, I'm Kristen, and today I'm going to be telling you about the weight loss quilt that I'm making and show you how you can join in with me if you want to. So I'm going to have a tutorial later in the video about exactly how to make the blocks, but let me explain to you sort of why I'm doing it and what the concept is first. So the why is I'm one of those, what I think you call yo-yo dieters. So I kind of I eat healthy for a while, exercise for a while, and then I kind of something happens, Christmas or something else, and I just sort of drop the ball, and then I kind of ignore the pounds going on until I wake up and I go, oh, I'm like 50, 60 pounds heavier than I meant to be, and then I go on a kind of fitness kick, and I get exercise and I eat well, and I have lost big chunks of weight in my life 3 or 4 times maybe. So like for my wedding, I think I've done it for somebody else's wedding a couple of times. So you can look nice on there on the day and wear a pretty dress. But I'm finding those kind of event-based and kind of appearance-based motivators aren't working for me so much anymore. Basically, since I became a mom, I guess. I don't know. It must be some sort of a mindset thing. But anyways, it's just not working. I did have a wedding to go to a little while ago. I knew about it for ages, thought about losing weight for it, but it just wasn't enough to get me motivated to do it. So what I'm hoping to do with this weight loss quilt is give me a focus, and also obviously talking to you guys about it, a bit of a accountability, I guess, because I'm going to come back and sort of update you with how I do and hopefully show you the finished quilt at the end as well. So that's the idea. And in terms of the concept of what it's going to be, it's, if you ever heard of a temperature quilt, it's similar to that. So it's going to be a block a day. For a temperature quilt, you're kind of recording the highest and lowest temperature for the day. And I think people do it for the year. And that's kind of the concept. So I've seen that done with like a plain block with a circle. Some people also do it with triangles, but I've taken the sort of circle idea and ran with that a little bit. But this is going to have maybe a bit more variation than a temperature quilt, at least the way I'm doing it. So you're not going to know exactly what the quilt's going to end up looking like until the end, because it's going to depend on kind of your actions, or for me, my actions, right? Whether or not I eat healthy, whether or not I exercise, and for how long I exercise, and whether or not I lost weight this week. So it's kind of like a habit tracker in quilt form. So let me show you. So for me, and I've got resources on my blog. I'll put the link in the description that you can download. So I've got the templates for the circles that I'm going to show you in a second, and I've also got like a key that you can fill out. So you can, obviously I've got certain colors I'm using. You can use different colors. You can also record different things to what I'm recording. But anyway, I've got all that for you. You can download if you want, but I'll show you how I'm going to use it. So what I'm going to do is, if I eat healthy on that day, then I'm going to have a background, a low volume square. Okay. 5 inch. So it's 5 inches unfinished. So the blocks will be 4.5 inches finished. If I don't eat healthy, so I have a bit too many overindulgences or something, then I'm going to have an orange background. So I'm also kind of using some colors that I don't always use. And then if I exercise, I'm going to have a different, so this is like, this is not a complete row, but this is how far I've gotten so far. If I exercise, I'm going to put a different size dot for how long I exercise. So I'm going to put different blue dots, and obviously I'm using scraps, so it's not going to be all the same fabric for each blue or each orange or whatever else. So for the blue dots, that means that I exercised for between kind of like 10 and 20 minutes. If I exercise between 20 and 40 minutes, I'm going to put an orange circle, and anything over 40 minutes is going to be this big pink one. And then if I have a day where I eat healthy but I don't exercise, it's just going to be a plain low volume or a white square. And if I have a day where I eat unhealthy and I don't exercise, then it's just going to be an orange background square with no circle in it. And then I'm going to have an extra block. So I'll have one block a day. So I've done just over a week. That's what this is. So I've got the first 7 days here. So starting here. right? And then for the 7th day, you're going to make the block, or I'm going to make the block for the day. So whether I eat healthy, whether I exercise, and then I'm going to use an additional block that is going to record whether or not I lost weight. That's going to be my weigh-in day. So if I've lost any weight at all, even if it's like 0.1 pounds, whatever, I'm going to put a dark pink square, plain square. So this is, and this one's got significance for me. So this is a cut up, I've got a cut up pair of dark pink jeans that I was having to clear out, and I took these jeans out. I was like, I will never fit into those again. Those are too small. And I cut them into just the biggest pieces of denim I could. And I was like, I'll use that in my sewing. And now I've decided to cut them down into 5-inch squares. And if I lose, so even if I lose 2 pounds or 1 pound, I'm going to put this in for that weight loss block. And then if I don't lose any weight, then it's going to, that week, or even if I gain a bit, because I don't want to depress myself, it's going to be like a plain square like this one. So you could obviously play with that. You could have all sorts of variations. I've got ideas and questions to ask yourself on my blog if you're wanting to use it, but you don't totally love the way I'm using it. You could decide. I originally wasn't going to track eating. I was just going to do all the same color in the background, and I was just going to track exercise. But the more I thought about it, I was like, you really need both pieces to get motivated and lose the weight. So, but I don't want to overcomplicate it. So I'm not recording things like intensity of exercise or any variation within what's healthy, what's unhealthy. I'm just deciding where that line is for me and trying to simplify it. So they're really easy blocks to do. It's just applique circles. I'm using Accuquilt dies to cut the circles, and I've got the exact die number in the blog post, but I've also got templates that you can cut out and like trace and cut yourself. If you don't have an Accuquilt cutter, that's fine. So just go to the blog and you can download all that. So I'm going to show you how I've made the blocks, and I'm going to come back and update you periodically on how I'm doing. I might do a few shorts. I don't know if you've seen those YouTube shorts. They're like a minute long videos. So I'll do some longer ones as well. But my quilt is going to be, I'm going to be working on it for 6 months is what I've estimated. I've kind of done a mock-up. So I'll show you kind of what it could look like. Obviously, it depends on whether I do all this exercise and lose all this weight. But mine's going to be about 63 inches by 63 inches. It's going to have 196 squares in it, blocks in it. So that's including the days and the like weight loss or non-weight loss record blocks as well. So there's kind of some additional blocks in there. Obviously, you don't have to do it for that long if you want to join in. You could, if you did it for a month, you would get something that's more like a wall hanging or a table runner or something. And if you wanted to do it for like a year, you could get a much bigger sized quilt, okay? So you can play around if you don't want to join me until you've seen how it's going, or you just want to save this for sometime when you feel like you're ready, then that's fine too. Okay, so to start, you're going to back any scraps that you're using for the circles with some sort of iron-on fusible. I'll put some links in the description for different ones. Any one will work, so don't stress about that part. I just cut the fusible to the size of the scrap, iron it in place. You should be using a Teflon sheet if you're going to do it like this. I have one and I always forget, and I always get residue on my wool mat. So do as I say, not as I do. And then this is my Accuquilt Go Me cutter. So this is the small one. And I am using the Crazy Petals die, and which is this one right here for the 1-inch circle, which is the blue ones. And then I'm using a circle die that's got 3 different sizes of circle, which you'll see in a minute, and I'll have all the links in the description for the 2-inch and 3-inch circles. Now, if you don't have a cutter, don't worry. As I said, just click the link in the description to go get the starter pack, and that's got templates that you can just print out and trace and cut out and do the circles that way. So, but anyways, I just get as many circles as I can out of each scrap. and I was just making a few ahead of time. And you can kind of put, a few pieces through together. Now, I'm going to say also, just as a little hint for the future, do keep the leftovers. So if you're doing this thing where you're putting the fusible on the back, like I am, and cutting it out, then keep those leftovers. Don't throw them out. I've got a project for them in the future. You're ready to make your blocks. You just peel the outer layer off of that fusible and place the circle somewhat in the middle. Don't stress if it's not dead center. It'll still look cool. Iron it down for a few seconds, and that's your block ready to sew. So this is just me doing a few more so you can see how easy it is. And then we are going to take them to the sewing machine and raw edge applique those circles down onto the blocks. So I use a zigzag stitch for this. You could use a blanket stitch or some other decorative stitch. I'm using this as a little bit of a practice about turning in circles. So you basically sew for a few stitches and then lift your foot and pivot and then continue on, and you have to keep pivoting to make sure you don't kind of go off the circle. So there is a bit of a knack to it, but the more that we do it, the better we're going to get at it. So that's me and you both. And if you might have another stitch that you want to try as well, and you can always do a different one for each one if you really wanted to. The smaller ones are slightly harder than the bigger ones, but again, you'll get the hang of it. And I think as a block to do a day, this is probably as simple as it's going to get. And of course, on some of those days, if you didn't exercise, or it's just a weight loss block, then there's no sewing to do at all. You're just cutting a square. Now I've decided to join my blocks as I go so I don't get them out of order. So this isn't quite a full row of 14, but it's almost there. So all you're doing is sewing your blocks together at 1/4 inch. And I've just got a clip there to show me which is the first block in the row. Do let me know if you're going to join in with me. I'd love to have some company on this journey. Keep me motivated. But I am committing to come back and let you know how I'm doing. So even if it doesn't go well, I am expecting to have some, weeks in the quilt where it's going to be all just plain orange blocks because I didn't do anything. And then maybe have a mix of things. So I'm hoping it's going to make a colorful, modern quilt no matter what happens. And I'm also hoping that just the act of recording it keeps it in the forefront of my mind. Actually making the blocks and constructing the quilt is also a kind of a distraction from, thinking about what you're not eating or whatever. So it can be good to have something to do with your hands, which I guess as quilters we have anyway. But I mean, this is a really focused version of that. And then obviously for me personally, sort of accountability to you guys, I'm hoping is going to help me too. So if you need some of that accountability, then do feel free to tag me in your posts, wherever you're doing that. And I'll try and comment and like and all that stuff. And you'll just know somebody else can see your progress as well. And if you like videos like this, then please do subscribe, hit the bell, and leave me a comment. Thanks for spending time with me.